Guernica, whether in its absence or textile, representation, was central to everything that happened down there. It was known as the Guernica exhibition. Did you see what Goshka Matsuka did with Guernica? People would walk in the gallery, forget the contemporary element, forget that Goshka is a contemporary artist, and some people would say, where is Guernica? And, a lot of people went straight for that. Of course, there were other viewers that were interested in that whole amalgamation of elements. But yeah, Guernica, the table was Guernica, the installation was Guernica, everything was Guernica in its absence, which is quite amazing if you think about it. Yeah. When we were designing the exhibition, I worked in the beginning to develop ideas with Goshka. The curator was Anthony Spira. They also, as part of our conversations, we decided that, of course, we couldn't have the original painting, Guernica, that was an important element of the installation. So we had to think, and we found out there were replicas, there were copies, well, in their own right, artworks, tapestries. And so we decided to bring that in as a comment, as a commentary on what we were doing at the time as an institution, but also as a comment that relates to copies of artwork, the artwork's aura, and so on and so forth. And within that installation, there was also a decision that we would have a round table where groups from anywhere in the UK or internationally, if they knew about it, could actually use those tables for their own meetings. And the tables contained, of course, the archive material that came, as I said, partly from the Whitechapel, partly from Goshka's research and other research that we had a team working for the project. So by sitting on the table, not only you were given a free space to hold a meeting, not only you were part of a work in progress, but you were actually forced, in a way, in a positive way, to see the archive material, so to read and see those historiographies that the material were narrating. So you just couldn't avoid them. And that was a very interesting way, I thought, to animate, in a way, the table, which could have been a normal table otherwise. Then we come to quite a fascinating archive that was donated to us, which is the archive of a photographer and activist in the East End in the 30s called Norman King. And this material came to us in the late 90s with no connection. We had no idea how, in a way, they were put together. But he was a photographer, and we now know that he was instrumental in bringing Guernica in 1939 at the Whitechapel. So he was part of the group that organized the talks and discussions. And he also took the famous photographs that we now have from the event with Clement Attlee. But Norman King is, for me, a very important figure because he also had the propaganda art course. He was running it once a week, I think every Friday at 8 p.m. somewhere by Commercial Road, and he would show people, together with his peers, how to make banners, typography, and other elements to use for propaganda, to use for protest purposes. So that's a very, in a way, a strong application of what possibly they all shared as knowledge, to use it in a political way and to have a political effect as well. So that we dedicated a section there, and we have some original archive material, of course, here that in the archive, that we can see the actual student booklets. There's one for poster design, one for how to make banners, one how to make good reproductions, script writing, and so on and so forth. So they were very serious about it, and that's late 30s in East London, something that is very unknown, I think, to historians today, and through this personal archive, it comes to light. And of course, weaving it within the project, then the whole presentation of Guernica in 39 takes a very different, it becomes very dynamic, because you could see it had connected people that were active in the area. It wasn't just an art showing, it wasn't an element that art goers would be interested in, that the Whitechapel Gallery curated as such. It was something that brought together various parties, all interested in change, some political change. We have layers of activism in a way and political thought being depicted through an artwork initially, but then through the animation and participation of the groups. But I also wanted to make the point that I think the whole of the installation in its entirety was the new Guernica. And I said that, and actually I felt really passionate about it, because what Goska was trying to achieve was exactly that. In our world, full of information, full of news, and we just move on, with two very dramatic events happening, of course, outside our own land, far from the UK, Goska was trying to bring that impact of the dramatic event within her installation, incorporating all the elements. So I think that was the new element. The meetings maybe represented the thought, the brain, in that if we had a depiction of the room, the meetings were the brain, the political thought coming from there. And all the other was the experiences.